Hey you guys, welcome to another 5-minute video from the Balding Artist. I'm going to go ahead and go over 1-point perspective. So 1-point perspective is pretty easy because basically you're going to have a single point where everything vanishes to in the background. So imagine this 1 point and all lines that travel away from you go to this point. So let's just draw a box for now. So we draw lines. Remember, any line going away from us is going to go straight through that line, and all other lines will be either straight up and down or straight horizontal. So you can see all the lines going there, and then I can choose how far back into the distance my box is going to go. Notice I'm keeping it really light until I'm satisfied with what I've done. It's called do it light until you get it right. Alright, so it took me a little bit, but I've finally narrowed in on something that I think looks like a pretty convincing box. So you can see all of these lines that are kind of traveling away from me all change directions, but they're all going toward this same dot. That's 1-point perspective. So it works really well if you're looking down like a long street. You can see like here's the edges of the street. Here you draw some more and it gives you the sidewalks. Even the buildings, it may be hard to believe, but even the buildings are going to, the tops of the buildings are going to go to that point. So you can see here's the front of your buildings. This might look like a Wild West town, but so as you can see, even the tops of the doors will go that way. I can tell you where the tops of each door need to go. All of the lines for the tops and the bottoms of the windows. Remember, anything that's traveling away from you is going to go and end up at that point. And this is just learning to trick the eye, right? Because we know that these buildings aren't actually all sloping toward the same point. But the way our eye makes sense of the world is through these kind of perspective rules. So you need to learn these rules in order to kind of fake out the eye and make your drawings look realistic. Remember, it's going to be tempting to draw lines going in other directions, but if it's not going away from you into the distance, then it should be either vertical or horizontal. And that's for 1-point perspective. There are other types of perspective, so stay tuned for those. But this is a 1-point perspective. It's the most simple, and you can start practicing it now. So we'll add in some trees. And remember, another rule of perspective is as things get closer to this dot, they'll actually get smaller as well until everything becomes right, like as big as that dot. Everything eventually kind of converges into that single point. So you can kind of see, hopefully you can kind of see how this is starting to come to life, and you can it actually kind of looks realistic in how everything fades into the background. Alright, and with this it may be helpful to use a ruler to set up some of your initial lines so that you make sure everything's going in the right direction at first. But if you keep your pencil light and do it carefully first, then it won't be too critical. So go ahead and practice your 1-point perspective. Remember, it's called 1 point because you start with a single point and everything vanishes to that point. 1 point perspective. So go ahead, do a couple pages of just blocks, houses, whatever you want to do. Practice 1 point perspective. You guys got this.